We're just going to talk really quickly about, I'll have a sort of a very short formal presentation about some ways that people could engage with the partnership, and then we'll open it up to discussion and hopefully hear from you, answer any questions you might have. So this is a very informal session. I've got myself and Anthony here on the slides, but we've got our steering committee chair, our technology CTO, and several people that are involved in SMART training and SMART leadership initiatives kind of around the world. So if you have any questions, the combined intellect of the few of us should be able to answer them, or at least point you in the direction of an answer. So really quickly, I'm just going to go over a quick introduction to the way that we within the partnership govern ourselves, and then talk about the role of the Technology Council, which I'm the current chair of, and a way that you could potentially, or ways that you could potentially be engaging with the partnership within the Technology Council. I'll hand it over to Anthony to speak to the Capacity Council and the SMART Focal Point program. And then I think we'll probably just open up for discussions. I think we had flagged Tony to potentially talk about opportunities for leadership within organizations implementing SMART. So maybe if you've got any off-the-cuff remarks, we can pull you up, Tony. Otherwise, we can just continue on. So to start, I just want to echo something that I think Jonathan put really well this morning. Everything that we do in SMART is to deliver results and outcomes to those working on the front lines of conservation. And so, you know, in my role as the Technology Council chair, I think it's, I'm quite honored to be able to be a conduit for field level practitioners to make recommendations and for us to try to work on delivering their requests so that they can use it in the field. It's a unique role, and it's one that I've really enjoy, and I would just say thank you for all of you that came and participated here, and for all of you that have contributed over the years to software development recommendations. You know, everything that we're doing is based on stuff that's coming from the field. So thank you. I never updated this logo. I promised myself I would update the logos at lunchtime. Anyway, so the partnership, as many people have shown, it's 8 different conservation organizations. Each of those conservation organizations has a steering committee representative. Most, I think all of them are here. And then beneath the steering committee, there's the councils, which Anthony showed in the plenary this morning. And each of those organizations has a formal obligation to contribute to SMART governance. So part of the partnership agreement is financial obligations and time and effort obligations and contributing to SMART governance. So myself, I am the Technology Council chair. That is my role as a North Carolina Zoo representative. So Rich Burgle is the chair of the steering committee, that he's doing that in his capacity as the North Carolina Zoo representative on the steering committee. And so there are these formal ways of engagement with the partnership within partner organizations. And this is what that chart looks like. So this is the steering committee, like I said. We have our 2 C positions currently, the Chief Technology Officer, Jonathan Palmer, Chief Capacity Officer, Anthony Dancer from this morning. And then we have 3 councils. There's the Capacity Council, the Technology Council, and the Fundraising and Marketing Council. They are in various stages of maturity. The Technology Council, as Anthony alluded to this morning, used to be called the User Council. When we decided to split the 2 groups, we changed the name to Technology and Capacity Council. And then fundraising and marketing kind of sits off to the side. That's more of an internal effort to work on how we develop communications and fundraise. As you might imagine, there's a lot of overlap between these groups. And certainly within our organizations, if anybody was in our session yesterday, everything we do for the partnership is in kind, and so there's limitations to what we can do. So at North Carolina Zoo, for instance, it's really just Rich and myself that are moving things forward. So I am the representative on the Technology Council, I'm the chair on the Technology Council, and I also am just a member of the Capacity Council. As you can imagine, that over time, the scope of SMART, you can see this Congress is testament to it, it can be challenging. So we're looking for ways to bring in new people and to increase engagement from the community in less formal ways, and so that we can not only lessen the load on the sort of core people that are, keeping the ship afloat, but also bringing in diverse voices, right? We only know, despite working in lots of places, we only know our experiences, right? So I've never worked in Southeast Asia. I can't speak really to what's happening on the ground in Southeast Asia, right? So it would be better if we have people on the council that do know that and can bring that expertise and can communicate the needs and the perspectives of those people when we're making development decisions. So we don't have to go into this, but just to show you, each of our formal positions we have worked out sort of a general composition. There's general roles and responsibilities. There is a reporting line. Again, all of this is a partnership. Most of the times when you're reporting, it's not a direct line. We're not officially reporting to these people, but it is within our partnership governance. Now, so within the Technology Council, this is what it looks like for us. And this is sort of an idealized schematic of what it looks like. So we have, don't have the mic. Okay, so we have the Technology Council, I'm the chair of, and then we have two sort of bodies of work. There's technology development, and then there's technology operations, right? And again, as with everything we're talking about, there's a lot of overlap in these areas, but technology development, we have patrol, survey, profiles, integrate, and sort of general technology development. What these are sort of working groups and areas of thinking around parts of the software, right? So patrol is kind of law enforcement monitoring, this sort of core use case of SMART that most of the people here have been talking about throughout the week. Survey is the biological monitoring component, right? We've had many people here talking about SMART survey, so that's specifically thinking around that. Profiles, again, Jonathan was talking about profiles a lot this morning and how it's been expanded beyond its original intelligence use. But we have a whole group of people that are thinking about how to continually improve that. Same for integrate and working on integrations. And then technology development is just making sure we're liaising with our developers. Tech operations, as if anybody went to the focus group yesterday, that's only one square there in that one group, but it's actually an incredible amount of work, and that's led by Oliver and James. And you can see, they're basically keeping all of the Connect servers and making sure our documentation and translations, it's a huge body of work that they're doing to keep us and the partnership moving forward and supporting those on the front lines. But this is the Technology Council in theory. I mean, in our governance model, this all comes through me. But in reality, it's really run sort of like a team between Jonathan, myself, Oliver, and now James Mfukwe, since he's come on board. So Oliver and myself and Jonathan, we all travel for work, and so we're just talking about none of it and going to the Canadian Arctic. If I disappear for a week, the partnership still needs to keep moving forward. Same thing if Oliver goes on vacation, so we have to have ways to backstop it. So I'm just going to mention this and then pass it over to Anthony. The SMART Forum definitely spans between technology and capacity. It is, as many people have alluded to this week, really taken on a life of its own. We have, I don't remember the number, I think you said it was over 1,000 people in the forum now? Yeah. And it's great because we've got, it's almost self-sustaining in the sense that there are most people posting and then answers are coming from the community. We do have a team that is dedicated to make sure that if a question has gone unanswered after a short period of time, or I think it's 2 or 3 days, that we make sure that it gets answered. And if there isn't an answer, that it gets escalated to the developers. But this is a really great community tool. Myself and many of the other people here are, SMART experts. We are implementing SMART and working with SMART on a daily basis, and I could tell you this is the first place I go if I don't have an answer to a question. This is a really great opportunity for someone to engage at a relatively low level, but the potential for impact is really high because everybody comes to this forum to ask questions and to figure out how to troubleshoot. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Anthony, and he can talk to the Capacity Council.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, on the capacity side, we're still kind of getting our structures in place. So we've been, what's it been, 2 years now since we instituted the Capacity Council? Yeah, so we're still trying to increase our membership, still trying to figure out how we're going to structure ourselves so we don't have the same formal task force structure as they do in the Technology Council. But the aim is still basically the same. On the Technology Council, they set the direction around our technology and provide expert input into it, and it's the same on the capacity side. At the moment, we have 8 voting members from each of the core partners. So if there's a big question around like resource allocation, then we'll go to the voting members. But it's not just voting members, like anyone can be a part of the Capacity Council. And we're looking for more membership. So if you want to engage, if you want to be part of the council, you're interested in capacity training, please do join, because we need more voices, we need diverse experiences, and we need more people to help out. So please definitely do come and take part. What else? So we do, I mean, I'm just kind of repeating, I'm guessing most people were at the plenary this morning. So we don't have any groups as such yet, but we work within the Capacity Council around these different areas, which I covered this morning. Some of them are more advanced than others. For example, trainings, like I said, we do lots of training events, and we do most of the work through the training task force, theoretically it's a task force, which is led by Tony. Beyond that, yeah, basically we just need more people, so if you're interested, just please do come and get engaged. We also do have a research task force. Just to say also, all these groups, they aren't confined to any one council, they span both councils. The idea is that we work all together, so it's a bit like hypothetical anyway. Beyond that, yeah, smart focal points. I think we've called it the Smart Focal Points program, which is probably stretching it a little bit. It's not a program, it doesn't exist yet. It's more of a concept. But we are definitely looking for feedback on that concept. But in broad strokes, the idea is that we're going to recruit a cohort of regional focal points around the world, basically champions with really strong smart skills who can help us to connect, empower communities within their regions. We've been getting feedback from people. We had a focus group on it yesterday, got some really good ideas. If anyone's got any thoughts today, that would be really helpful. We've got some initial thoughts on how this is all going to work. The main thing to say is that these aren't paid positions, they're voluntary positions, so we're trying to be realistic about what we can expect, but at the same time we're trying to make sure that the individuals involved, that there is a benefit for them. In terms of the kinds of responsibilities that we're talking about, certainly helping to manage networks of communities within their regions, using, for example, WhatsApp, providing some limited remote technical support. We can't overdo this, people can't give up too much of their time, we need to give very clear guidelines around what kind of support they can provide, but people do need local, regional support which is relevant to them, and the idea is that these people could help with that. Also, same idea on the user forum, some people have questions which are specific to their region, and the idea is they would help with that as well. If we organize training events or any kind of event in that region, it'd be useful to have their help. And also it works both ways. We want somebody who can help and support and connect people within their regions, but also feed back into the partnership. So ideally you'd join one of the councils, feed back your thoughts from the users in your region to those councils, and when we do the user needs survey, get people to answer those would be useful. And yeah, and when we have new releases of the software, helping to test it would be really helpful as well. We've got it as a benefit. I think some people like enjoying testing new software, so you'll have early access if you want it, but at the same time it helps us to have people test stuff. In terms of benefits, yeah, the most obvious ones are the idea is that we will bring these individuals to specific events where they can learn new skills and network with each other and with us in the partnership. So it's good for them, they can build their own capacity and smart, build other soft skills as well. And the idea is that's useful for them, it's useful for us, helps them to develop their CV and their career as well. Yeah, basically that's it. But this is not set in stone, these are just our initial thoughts, so if you got any feedback, it would be appreciated. And the idea is, yeah, we're going to launch it hopefully sometime this year, but yeah, look out for it. Otherwise, that's it. And I think you've got one more point, Drew. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. So the only thing I wanted to add, which I realized I kind of sped through, on the technology front, and it applies for capacity as well, one of the things that we're constantly looking for are people that can reliably test software. It is, as you've all seen throughout the week, SMART is increasingly expanding in scope, right? There's lots of stuff, there's lots of configurability, and that's great. But the problem is, there's only so many times you can test software with the technical training manual, right? That's the most tested thing that we've got, that pipeline. If we build a new feature, we need to make sure that we're testing that new feature. And a lot of times, we can't be sure that it's really tested until someone's tested it in a real life situation, right? There's a running joke, it's not so much Rich anymore, but there was a running joke in the partnership for a long time that Rich would go to Nigeria with a new release and then be in Nigeria trying to implement it and find out that a bunch of things were not working, and then we'd fix it, but by that time he'd come back from Nigeria, right? And so that level of support would be invaluable, and that would be for testing new software developments, new training manuals, new, like the online learning platform that's been developed, is having people go through that. Anyone that is willing to commit their time to test this, and I do mean commit, like what we don't want is to people to sign up and say we're going to do that and then not follow through, because it does create work for us to have more people. We want people to be involved, but we don't want people to sign up without acknowledging that we would like a formal commitment of someone's time to say, I will be able to test, or I will test this manual. But getting more people doing that we can reliably turn to, even if you can't do it all the time. If we have a new release in the first quarter of this year and you're going to be in the field for a large chunk, maybe we don't have you test in this quarter, but maybe in quarter 2 you're going to have some time and you can test. I think that would be, yeah, incredibly valuable. And I'll just leave it at that. Is there anything else you all wanted to add? No?
Yeah, we haven't just said if you want to engage, where it's
It's a mystery, yeah. If you want to engage, you all theoretically have the Congress app, so you can just message myself or Anthony or Tony or Zia. I mean, if you work with one of the partner organizations and you have a contact, definitely just get in touch with that contact and voice your interest in volunteering. If not, you can reach out to myself, you can reach out to Anthony, you can definitely find us on the Congress app. We'll be here today as well, and we'd be happy to connect with you. Yeah, anything else? Anyone who wants to make a formal commitment of volunteering time right now will get one smart hat. Any of you with smart hats, you don't get any, sorry. Any questions? Yeah.
Yes, thank you for very informative presentation. I like the way you have organized your presentation in terms of your steering committees, council, and it is very good. And if I was in a classroom scoring, kids should have given you a 90% pass mark. Well organized, and you can see the type of evolution in terms of structuring yourself, starting from your organizational chart to going to how you have, spread out your wings into either task forces, working groups, and within that also having some very good disciplines that you are dealing with within your organizational structure. Mine is referring to my colleague, my bearded colleague, in terms of the Capacity Building Council. And within that, I think there is a task force or a working group that deals with standards. I would just like to hear more on what you refer to standards.
So what's the question, what do I mean by standards? So I guess maybe you weren't here this morning for the plenary. I talked about it a little bit. We have an area of work within SMART now, which is about trying to ensure high levels, high quality SMART implementation. That's across a bunch of different areas. I'm just going to repeat myself from this morning. Basically, it's a bunch of different levels. At the individual level, building people's capacity to use SMART, so building competence in SMART and helping people assess how competent people are in using SMART. At the trainer level, we're assessing how good our trainings are. We have an assessment tool for our trainings, before and after trainings. And at the site level, we're starting to do quality evaluations of SMART implementations. We haven't started yet, but later this year we'll do that. But a few different areas, which is all about just effective implementation. Cool. Any other questions? Thoughts, feelings? Okay, cool. Drew, any final thoughts? Or?
I'm going to put up the email address real quick.
Cool.
Actually, I think it's on. Yeah, just bring up my slide deck. The last slide. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, sorry. The colleagues raised a good point. So this is a good way to get in touch with us. If you don't have the Congress app, it's just info@smartconservationsoftware.org. That's just our generic email address. That comes to me, and we can connect you from there. There's no more questions, right? No? Again, we'd love to have you. Engage with partnership. And if not you, please communicate to your friends and colleagues. We are interested to bring people in, especially for the focal points. There's several again, it's not an official role. There are several people that are effectively focal points, both national and regional here, and they'd be good people to connect with. So yeah, thank you for your time, and do reach out if you have any interest. And otherwise, we will see you for the plenary shortly. Thank you.